I'm losing a little weight. Wow, thanks. It's worse than I thought. That silence told me everything. Everyone was like, this is the after picture? I'm down weight right now. I'm losing weight. And I knew I had to start losing weight because I went to the doctor last year to get a referral for a therapist. Anyone else in comedy? Got this referral for a therapist at the doctor, and they said, you know, Dan, while you're here, you haven't been here in a while. Why don't you take a physical? And I said, sure. And they came back with the results, and they said, Dan, according to this, you're technically obese. So basically, I went to a medical professional, and I was like, I'm sad sometimes. And they were like, you're fat too, so good luck out there, buddy. I was trying to lose weight, so I quit drinking for a whole month, no booze. Did you know you can get diarrhea from other stuff? Series of healthy choices, one weird salad, out of commission. It's terrible. So I got this therapist, and the other day I was in therapy with him, and he told me about depressive realism. Do you guys know about that? This is new to me. Depressive realism is the study they're doing now where they think that depressed people actually have a more accurate view of the world than non-depressed people. That's all I wanted from therapy. I'm cured. I just wanted to go somewhere, pay a guy, he listens to my darkest thoughts for an hour, and he just goes, yeah, you're right. You nailed it, buddy. I'm from Cleveland originally, just to make this set a little sadder. And I always tell people, Cleveland's great if you've never been to Chicago. And this is the funniest thing that happened to me in Cleveland was, I grew up in Fairview Park, Ohio. It was like this idyllic suburb. And then when I was 13, my parents moved us to inner city Cleveland. And if you're wondering what that transition was like from suburban Ohio to inner city Cleveland, just picture living inside a Norman Rockwell painting and then moving into an old rusty bucket of paint. That's sort of what it was like. And the first night that we lived there, the first night we had our stuff unpacked, we had the couch out, like everything was getting set up, the house was pretty much ready. The first night that we were staying there, someone tried to break into our house. Like that night. My dad and I were sitting in the living room and someone was trying to break in the back door. And my dad and I, not used to crime, we go, hey, let's go outside and see what's going on. Which is how every TV show about murder starts. I don't know if you've ever seen TV. So our brilliant plan was to go out the front door, into the backyard, and see what was happening. And sure enough, there's this guy who's trying to pry open our back door. And he sees us, see him, and he reaches into his jacket pocket. And he pulls out his hand, like this, as if pretending to have a cell phone. And he goes, yo man, I think I'm at the wrong house. Where's that episode of The Wire, you know? Two criminal masterminds talking to each other, they're like, yo man, anyone ever catches you doing some dirt? Just grab a rope. Mime your way out of there. I love movies. Love new movies. I go to new movies all the time. That's just my way of saying I'm loaded. I got that new movie money, baby. What is it, $18 a ticket in New York? $18 a ticket, and I go. It ruins the movie before I see it. You know what I mean? Like $18 a ticket, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, this better change my life. I better want a new job. I better want to change cities after I see Minions 2. This better do it. Minions 2 better be the one. And the last time I was at a movie theater, there was a recliner. Have you ever been to a movie theater like that? There's a recliner in the movie theater. That's how you know they're screwed, you know? The entire history of movie theaters in this country, it's like They try to convince you that the screen's wider. They try to tell you, like, you gotta see it with other people. It's like live theater. You gotta get out there and you gotta see it live. And now they're just like, all right, you fat fucks. You want a fucking recliner? Can we bring you a beer? How about dinner? Whatever gets you in here. Just treat it like your living room. Make yourself at home. And you're like asking an usher, you're like, am I allowed to take my shoes off? They're like, buddy, for $18 a ticket, legally we have to let you jerk off in here. That's, you're paying rent. I saw this movie Begin Again. It's about music. It's Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley, and they're 50 years apart, but they're in love or whatever. And this was before Stars. I'm not very well caught. I know I said I watched new movies. This movie's from 5 years ago. Begin Again is about music. They're on their first date, and Mark Ruffalo says to Keira Knightley, he's like, play me something from your iPod. I want to get to know you. Just play me a random song from your iPod. And Keira Knightley goes, oh, no, I couldn't. Oh, I have too many guilty pleasures on there. Too many guilty pleasures. And he's like, come on, play me something. Just play me anything. And she finally plays one of her guilty pleasures, and she chooses a Stevie Wonder song. You know Stevie Wonder, the greatest recording artist of all time? What are her other guilty pleasures? The Beatles? What's wrong with this woman? Like, I watched every episode of a reality show called I Wanna Marry Harry, where a bunch of women competed to marry a guy who looked like Prince Harry, sort of. They took it off the air after 4 episodes. They put the rest on Hulu. I bought a Hulu subscription to finish that show. That's a guilty pleasure. Meanwhile, this Keira Knightley character is like, oh, I'm into such weird, quirky things like naps. You heard of these? Sleeping when you're not supposed to be asleep. It's crazy. Something else that's nice in my life right now, I started playing guitar. I know. A white guy playing acoustic guitar. It's 2018. Anything's possible. Started playing this guitar. I have a guitar teacher. His name's Matt. Matt is definitely the coolest person I've ever paid to hang out with me. There have been several. And the other day we were hanging out, that's what I call it, and I said, you know, Matt, I got this confession to make. Before I played guitar with you, I used to play a lot of Guitar Hero. And he was like, ugh, I hate that game. I was like, why? He goes, you spent all this time learning how to play a game about the guitar when you could have spent that time just learning how to play a real guitar. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I pick up a piece of plastic in front of my TV, I go, I'm an AC/DC. It's magic, you know? It's a fantasy. You want to play a real guitar, you gotta take lessons and practice and learn how to apply eyeliner or whatever it is that men do that play guitar. And I just know that argument's bullshit because you never hear anyone say it about any other video game. You know what I mean? You're never sitting at your buddy's house and he's playing Call of Duty. And you're like, hey man, you like this Call of Duty game so much. Why don't you enlist, huh? Why don't you get out there and kill people for your country? Come on! Oh yeah, you love Miss Pac-Man, I bet you do. Why don't you hunt ghosts? Why don't you get out there, dress as a lady, and hunt ghosts? Yeah, you love Mario, I bet you do. Kill this turtle.